Welcome back to our next indie horror game, Lift Your Spirits. This one is a visual novel style. According to its game page, it's got 4 endings, 2 good and 2 bad. So, let's see if we can't find all 4 of those. Alone on a Friday night, and I'm spending it here. My fingers were sluggish as they typed out the last bit of conclusion needed to finish off my paper. I didn't even bother spell checking the rest, my hand dragging the cursor across to close the document. Alright, time to submit it. I typed out my regards to Mr. Holtman. Kindly find the attached file of assignment, your student. Stifling a yawn, I turned on my phone to check the time. 2:53 a.m. The universal experience of losing sleep and gaining eye bags as a college student came to grace me in its hold once again, it seems. At least it's the weekend. Turning off the computer, it suddenly hit me how quiet it was without my fingers tapping away at the keyboard. Everyone else had left. The campus was open 24/7, but who else was dumb enough to push their luck in submitting their assignment this late? Considered myself lucky Mr. Holtman gave me the extended deadline, otherwise I'd be screwed. Still, there were also the rumors. Disembodied voices echoing through empty rooms, heavy footsteps shuffling down the halls. Those who were lucky claimed to see a black silhouette skulking around the vending machine at the end of the corridor, staring at them. I wasn't the superstitious type, but I had to admit the eerie silence of being the only person here gave me the creeps. I was recalling all the gossip spread around the student body when a sound made me perk up. I glanced behind me over the monitors to see if someone had come in. Nobody. I ignored the goosebumps rising on my arms as I gathered up my items in my bag. Superstitious or no, I've done what I came here for. Time to go. I shambled to the elevators and tapped the button. It rumbled to life, slowly making its way up to my floor. Just a couple more minutes and I'm out of here, I assured myself. I don't know why, but I found myself constantly checking behind me, as if expecting someone there. Yet it's always empty every time I look. Tap the button some more. The hairs at the back of my neck stood, as if I was being watched. I clenched my fists, ignoring how sweaty they felt in my pockets. Is there someone behind me? I jumped. The door slid open as I released the breath I didn't realize I was holding. I didn't even consider looking back as I stepped inside, refusing to turn around until the doors closed. The chipper background music they played calmed me down somewhat. I'm almost in disbelief they were still playing it at this hour. Almost. Pressed the button for the ground floor, the elevator moving with a small jolt. With nothing to do but wait, I stared as the numbers slowly descended. The lull of the elevator was starting to make me sleepy. I thought of the things I could do once I got home, just to distract myself for the rest of the ride. A shower for sure, microwave dinner probably. Okay, I don't know what that third thing was, because it disappeared before I got that far. I blinked up at the flickering lights. Uh-oh. The elevator shuddered and came to an abrupt halt. The music cut out. I tried the button for the ground floor, then the rest. Unresponsive. Pushing the intercom button gave nothing but static. Hello? No, this can't be happening. Taking a moment to compose myself, I called out. Is anyone there? I'm stuck in here. Help! I started slamming the door as this panic took hold. There had to be someone out there. Help! Please, I'm in here! I didn't stop for a good minute, getting more and more desperate as tears welled up in my eyes. Why? Why now? Why me? I knocked my forehead against the door in a slump, ready to curl up and cry. This sucks. I was about to turn before I felt a chill run up my spine. The air felt heavy. Is this claustrophobia setting in? Not likely. I'm claustrophobic as fuck, and elevators don't bother me. I didn't think I had a fear of closed spaces. Unless... There was a raspy moan from behind me. I turned my head and screamed. Across me was a growing blotch of darkness, an oozing mass that seemed to melt through the walls. I scrambled away, my back flat against the doors. A hand emerged from the writhing form, grasping at the edges. Foul-smelling black ichor dripped from its fingers. Another arm followed suit, clinging to the other side. I couldn't look away. I couldn't find my voice to scream. A face took shape. A pair of hollow eyes and a manic grin with several teeth seemed to smile directly at me. I blacked out. Wake up! Hey! Wake up! Hey! I heard a voice, panicked and flustered, from above me. A person was looming over me, visibly worried as I blinked back to consciousness. You're alive! I couldn't really check for a pulse, so... Anyway, are you alright? I think so. Phew, I'm glad. I didn't mean to scare you back there. I realized I was still in the elevator, but now with a stranger, twiddling their thumbs in front of me. They were taller than me, looming a few good inches past my head. Their limbs looked even more awkward in the baggy sweater they had. I wasn't sure if they forgot to wash away their makeup, or if they just haven't slept for 3 days straight. Possibly both. I realized they were staring at me as well. Their eyes focused on me a little too long, as if they'd forgotten how to blink. So I suddenly remembered the last thing I saw. That creepy shadow from the walls. Before you were here, there was something crawling out of the walls. I know it sounds insane, but I swear it looks straight out of a horror movie. The stranger looked nervous. Crap. They think I'm nuts. Yes, she probably does. Don't look at me like that. No, I believe you. For sure. You saw it too? Well, sort of. Oh, it's her. She's the ghost, demon, whatever that was. Sorry, I was really trying to be sneaky. That must have been uncomfortable to watch, huh? Come again? What are you saying? You know damn well what she's saying. It's her. Well, I heard you yelling for help, and I couldn't just leave you alone, so I did the next best thing I could. Are you saying that was you? Yes, in a way. There's really no easy way to say this. I'm not alive. Not the way you are. Did they mean... You mean like a ghost? Stranger lit up appreciatively. Basically, you must have heard the rumors, right? Well, it's me. In the flesh. Well, sans the flesh. So we can believe her, or we can stick your hand through her. Let's go with the bottom one, I guess. Jesus Christ, man. Just because she's dead doesn't mean you just get to jam your hand through her boobs. You just sexually molested a ghost. How do you feel about that? Hope your fingernails freeze and fall off. Ghost molesting bastard. My hand shot out before I could think twice. What? The tips of my fingers instantly felt airy and ice cold, like touching something solid, yet not. The stranger yelped and backed away. Yeah, I bet she did. Hey, do you just go around sticking your fingers into people you just met? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were messing with me. The stranger was having none of it. Ugh, why do I even bother? If you sit tight and don't do anything stupid, they'll come find you in the morning. They shifted into a familiar black shapeless entity, melting into a puddle and disappearing through the floor. Exactly the same way they had entered. I found myself alone for the next 7 hours. The workers found me half dozing in the corner the next morning. I stayed late most nights on campus to see if the stranger would show up, but it seems they're ignoring me on purpose. Well, yeah, you did the human to ghost equivalent of sexual assault. I'm sure she doesn't want to talk to you anymore. I never saw them again. Oh, that was one of the bad ends. Okay, bad end 1, rude awakening. Alright, so we got one more bad end and 2 good endings to find yet. Okay, we're gonna... looks like we can... There we go. Alright. So, we'll just keep up. This time we're gonna go with believing her instead of jamming our hand through her chest. Okay, so we can skip. Yeah. That was you. And believe them. I feel like this isn't the worst situation to be meeting a ghost for the first time. The stranger gave a sigh of relief. Oh, thank you for trusting me. I might ask for your name, but I already know that it's... Okay. How did you... I've been watching you for a while. Excuse me? Tonight! I've been watching you for a while tonight. It's not safe to be alone this late. I would know. Before I could ask further, they straightened. Anyways, I stuck around to see you write your paper. I don't necessarily agree with your hypothesis, but interesting nevertheless. Thanks, I think. They gave a shy smile. No problem. This wasn't the way I expected my night to go, but I guess the sooner I accepted it, the better. Should probably ask for their name instead of calling them stranger. You know my name, but what about yours? Oh. They looked away, fingers picking at their sleeve. I don't remember. I know who I was and what I did when I was alive, but not my name. Strange, isn't it? Have you ever thought of picking one yourself? Their eyes widened if the thought never occurred to them. I never needed a name, but if I were to have one, I always liked the name Alma. It's perfect. Their smile widened. Thank you. Alma went back to twiddling their fingers. We stood in silence for a while, gauging on what to say next. I kept glancing back at their hands, wondering if they'd feel as solid as they looked. They knew I was staring, but didn't seem to mind, waiting patiently in front of me. My thoughts were running wild from sleep deprivation and shock to actually form words past our introductions, to be honest. They started humming softly, as if to fill the silence. That's when it hit me. For a ghost, they could easily be a student, just like me. She probably was. I have to ask, how did you, Alma had a knowing look in their eyes. Oh, man. It's honestly kind of embarrassing. So we insist or we back down? Okay, we can insist, and then we'll back down on the next one and see if that's another ending branch. Despite having no blood flowing through their veins, their cheeks seem to darken. We don't have to get into it. But I really want to know. Please? They hesitated before nodding. Promise you won't make fun of me? I promise. Okay. So, I was staying late working on an assignment, just like you. She was a student. No one was around. Even back then, I was known as a loner most of the time. Didn't bother me. While I was working, I got thirsty. No big deal. So I headed over to the vending machine for a drink. They paused, hands shaking. They clasped at their wrists and twisted before continuing. Just a soda. Not too much to ask, right? I paid for the damn thing, but somehow my hand got stuck in the dispenser. So I pulled, and well, she got crushed. She pulled the machine over on herself. They struggled a bit before I waved them to continue. It fell. I felt my whole body being crushed under the weight. I couldn't even cry out for help. And the whole time my hand was still stuck on that thing. Not that I could even tell. I think my wrist was beyond saving at that point. They sunk into themselves. I died trying to get some cheap soda. How pathetic is that? It's not. I'm sorry that happened to you. I put my hand over theirs. It passed right through, giving an ice-cold chill at my fingertips, but Alma seemed to appreciate it, nevertheless. They looked up at me, their nervous hands finally coming to a stop. I've never told anyone about it before. I didn't think it would feel this freeing. Thank you. You know, I think you're a really great person. I want to help you get out of here. I tilted my head. How are you going to do that? I can try some things. That is, if you trust me. Well, both of the choices are trust her, so I guess we're going to trust her. They clapped their hands excitedly. Okay, here we go. You might want to hold on to something. Before I could ask further, the elevator began to drop. My heart plunged into my throat as my weight shifted upwards. Alma? Hang on, let me focus. The buttons for each floor flashed beside me. I closed my eyes shut and decided to trust them. It felt like a roller coaster heading straight to the ground. The air whizzed around me. I grit my teeth and clenched my hands, knuckles probably white if I bothered to look. And just like that, it stopped. I yelped as the elevator jolted. Landed on my ass with a smack. I blinked, my eyes open to see Alma clapping excitedly. They looked over to see me on the floor and gestured toward the doors. They creaked open, as if manually pulled apart by an unseen force. My jaw dropped as I realized they really did bring me to the ground floor. You really did it. I did. I never got to do that before. I couldn't believe my eyes. I stood and threw my arms around Alma, only to completely pass through them. They yelped and backed away to the wall. Give a signal before you do that. I don't appreciate feeling hands inside of me. It's gross. Sorry. I gathered myself and stepped through the doors, Alma following suit. Sure enough, the lobby was empty. Clock on the wall indicating it was close to 4 a.m. now. Well, I guess this is it. I turned to see them trying hard not to reach for their hands, fingers twitching to intertwine with one another. It all happened so fast. It sunk in that now I could leave and go home right now if I wanted to. Alma, thank you. I appreciate it. They nod understandingly. I stood there for a moment as they looked at me before averting their eyes. They were waiting for me to leave. I grasped at my phone inside my pocket, mustering the courage to ask what I was about to ask. You gonna ask her out on a date? Would you ever want to hang out again? They did a double take. Huh? Why would you want to hang out with me? Yeah, yes. But why would you want to? Well, I mean, she's cute and friendly, aside from the fact that she's dead. But that doesn't mean she can't be a good friend. Why wouldn't I? I like you. Once again, their cheeks darkened, despite being them. I like you too. Yeah, I'd love to hang out again. Great. Preferably when I'm, not stuck and helpless in an elevator. My heart skipped a beat as they laughed lightly. Preferably, of course. I'll see you next week? Yes. Don't worry about a time or place. I can always find you, wherever you are in the building. Well, that's a little creepy. Kind of unsettling, but okay. Stay safe. I waved and headed toward the entrance, pulling my phone out to call for a driver from one of my apps. When I turned to look back, Alma was already gone. Oh, I've got into friends for life, or more. So we got one good and one bad left to find. Alright. So... I guess... this time, what do? We can back down and not make her tell us how she died this time and see what happens. Yep. Okay, so obviously believe them, because if we pick the other one, it's gonna bad end one, so... It's perfect. So this time we back down. I guess I don't have to tell you then. That's alright. I heaved a sigh and moved to sit down, leaning against the doors. Alma looked on curiously. What are you doing? I shrugged and took out my phone to look for a time-wasting app. In no time, I had one of my mindless games open. Might as well settle in and spend the next few hours trying to beat my high score. Not much I can do right now. Got some battery to last a couple hours. I pat down a spot next to me. You want to watch? Alma stood for a moment, as if unsure. Come on. Plenty of room for both. Just watch your legs, Lanky. They settled in beside me, sitting crisscross applesauce, and leaned over to look at my phone. My shoulder immediately chilled at their close proximity, but I didn't bother bringing it up. We chatted amicably as my fingers tapped away at the screen, Alma getting more invested the higher my numbers got. But otherwise, it was peaceful company. A few hours passed. I must have dozed off at some point, as the next thing I knew there was some whirring behind me that woke me up with a jolt. Voices began to call out, and I turned to see some workers prying the door open for me. It took no time for me to step outside when their work was done. The sunlight shining over me made it feel like everything that happened last night was a dream. I turned on my phone to look at the time. Instead, I saw an unsent message typed out on the screen. Be safe. Careful about staying late next time. I blinked and looked around. Cold chill went up my arm, and I almost turned to expect Alma, but saw nothing. Next time? I put my phone away and rubbed my bleary eyes, mentally making a note to stay back at the campus more frequently from now on. Oh, there's the other good end. Till next time. Okay, so we got one bad end to find, and I think I know where it is. When she told us how she died, there was an option to tell her that she deserved to die that way. That's got to be the other bad ending, because that would be horribly rude and insulting to say to her. So let's. All right. Okay, we gotta get to... So we insist. And then tell her that it kind of sounded like you deserved it. What the fuck? I feel awkward being mean to her because she's absolutely adorable and I don't want to be mean to her, but I'm going to have to get the other ending. I heaved a sigh and moved down, leaning against the doors. What, did I pick the wrong one? The fuck? I said it. Okay, hold on. Something went wrong there. Let's fast forward to that point again. Oh, you know what it is? I bet we've got to be mean to her in every choice and then pick that one. Because just saying one mean thing to her probably wouldn't do it. We probably got to be just rude as fuck to her the entire time. I'll try it again here, but yeah, it's not going to work by itself. We're going to have to be rude the entire time for it to... Alright. Okay. Alright. Alright, so here we go. First choice. Ew, don't touch me, creep. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. Just give me some space, will you? I realized I was still in the elevator, but now with a stranger. Okay, so the dialogue options are the same. What kind of sick joke is this? I was just trying to help. Man, you're making me feel like an asshole. I feel bad being mean to her because she's cute and I don't want to... Damn it. There's really no easy way to say this. I'm not... Okay. We're going to have to be nice to believe her, though, to get it to progress. Okay, so that's where she told us she didn't agree with our paper. We can tell her, nobody asked for your opinion. Well, sorry. Tell her, oh man, that's where she picked the name for herself, and we're gonna tell her it sounds stupid. Oh, Neil, no need to be rude about it. All went back to twiddling their fingers. We stood in silence for a while, gauging on what to say next. Okay, so we insist, and then tell her she deserved it. There we go. Now she's pissed. Alma's eyes shrunk into thin slits. Why are you so mean to me? Oh God. The lights dimmed, a fuzzy static rising in the air. A heavy weight settled into my chest as Alma stared me down. Their height only made me shrink further. I've done nothing but be nice to you. All I wanted to do was help, and yet... Everything went dark. I stepped back as rasping noises came from in front of me. Sounds of scuffling and bones snapping. My back hit the wall. It was cold. Colder than anything I've ever felt. It hurt to breathe as I waited in the dark for something to happen. Hello? What in the fuck is that? Alright, I'm confused. If she was just the simple, you know, the ghost of a college girl who died in an admittedly embarrassing way, what the hell is that shit? Because that looks like some Lovecraft shit right there. The emergency lights turned on. Alma no longer looked human. Multiple eyes writhed across her form, tiny slits with red pupils, judging me. Mouths cackled and taunted, whispering, "You deserve this. You deserve this. You deserve this." Wait. My feet buckled as the elevator began to drop, free falling as gravity's pull took over. Buttons began to light up one by one as we fell by each floor, faster and faster as it gained speed. The scraping of metal was loud in my ears. I dropped to my knees, begging for it to stop. And stop it did. Splat. Oh, bad end too. You deserved it. Yes, you did. For being horrible and mean to such an adorable ghost. Well, that was all 4 endings for Lift Your Spirits. That was a really cute story. I like it. I do not appreciate you forcing me into a path to be mean to her to get one of the endings, but it is what it is, I guess. But there you go. That was all 4 endings for Lift Your Spirits. The link is in the description if you want to read through that for yourself. Thank you for watching as always. Like that if you liked it. Dislike it if you didn't. And I'll see you in the next game.